Oh, good morning and welcome to the Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist congregation. I'm Alan Worley, President of the Board of Trustees, and I'm here to welcome you on this beautiful Sunday morning. So different from yesterday when it was cold and chilly. Today it's bright and sunny like our future is going to be. Just a reminder for any of you that have been off the incognito for the last few months. Today at 12 noon, there's a congregational meeting here in the sanctuary and via Zoom to vote on calling our Rev Maggie to full-time settled ministry. A couple other items. The Adopt a Family, which is our project to provide gifts to a family in need. The gifts are due a week from tomorrow, Monday the 29th. If you need instructions, they're on the little Christmas tree in the back. Or you can get them from the online announcements, which I hope you all read every week. There's also Thanksgiving dinner here on Thursday. You can still sign up. There's a sign-up sheet on the table, or you can do it online, again, through the announcements. We have applied for a spirit-level grant for technology to improve our presence, both here and on Zoom, internet, and you're going to start hearing much more about that. We're going to be presenting what this project is and how it's going to get done. We need to raise approximately $9,000 more to get a matching grant of $12,000, which will help us. But details will be coming in the next couple weeks as we move on. And one final thing, Lily has an announcement about an upcoming event.
Good morning, everyone. I announced this last week, but I just wanted to remind you again today, doing a very wonderful concert next Sunday, the 28th at 4 p.m., right here in the sanctuary and online on Zoom, part of our MV Music concert series. I'm going to be performing here with a Nigerian opera singer, Abiodun Koya, who's an incredible performer, and my sister will also be joining us, so I think it's going to be a really fun performance. And we're not doing only classical, we're gonna kind of break it up, do some oldies and some fun music, so I think you will all enjoy it, and I hope you can come. There's a suggested donation of $25, which is going to go towards bringing more people for more performances here, so thank you.
Good morning, everyone. And good morning, Zoom folks. I see we have 12 people with us today. Jarius, could you just do a swirl around with the camera and let those in the sanctuary give a little hello to those on Zoom? Yep, the choir, everybody. When Mark Manager is here, he says, let's do a wave. But that's Mark, and Mark is in Mexico today. He'll be Zooming in later for the meeting and the vote. I'm trying to be calm. If you hear me break away and just say, Om. No, yes, no. Just lots of, like I've told people, said it's just worth every butterfly, it's just that special. So yeah, thank you all. But it's been our tradition that was started by Reverend Ellen that we open our service with ringing of the bowl. We ring it 3 times. Once for those who came before, the Tongva peoples who were the original stewards of this land and called it home long ago. We also honor the founding members of this congregation who imagined and planted our beloved community. And once for those of us here and now, for our members, our friends, our visitors, our staff, and our extended UU family who hold, care, and grow this spiritual community that we know as our own. And once for those who will come, for all who will come to find belonging with us and call Monte Vista UU congregation their spiritual home in the days ahead. Another one of our beautiful traditions each service that we do is that we light a chalice. Here at Monte Vista, we light 2 chalices, one on behalf of the congregation and one that represents our relationship with our Kalapayan congregation in the Philippines that we have a loving relationship with. So I invite Lily to come. Here's the matches. Thanks, Lily. As we light this chalice, we remember that we are the living keepers of this, our chosen faith, doing the work of this congregation. When we do the work of this congregation, we touch lives. And when we touch lives, we change the world. May this chalice flame remind us of that calling, and throughout this gathering, may we sense our belonging to our ministry, to our passions, and to one another. I'll take those. You can just leave them here. They're fine. Thank you. I invite you to stand and sing out as we sing together one of our favorite hymn, number 123 in our gray hymnal, but the lyrics will be on the screen, Spirit of Life. We'll sing it first in English and then in Spanish. Day. Let's stand and really put our hearts into the speaking of our covenant together. You should see the words up there. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest of truth its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve the world in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. Our time for all ages today is maybe a story you've heard before, but don't stop listening when you hear the title. It's The 6 Blind Men and the Elephant. It's an old Buddhist fable, but it's been adapted by Reverend Gretchen Haley, and I made a couple edits too. We have that license to do that, yes. In a valley along a river, there resided 6 men living in community who who had all been born blind. These men loved to talk about how smart they were. They loved to tell stories that showed off how much they knew and exchange ideas about the ways of truth. But one day they started to argue about a creature that we know as an elephant. They fought over what an elephant looks like, what it resembled, its size, its smell, its sound, all of this. But had any of them ever seen an elephant? No. Yet they just kept arguing. They did enjoy their arguments, but decided to go out and find an elephant so that each of them could prove themselves right. They hired a guide and set out early one morning, and they went through the forest one by one until finally they came to a clearing where there was a huge bull elephant just standing there, thinking about what he might eat for the day. The men were very excited to finally get clear about the elephant and settle their argument once and for all, each being right, of course. As they approached the elephant, who was extraordinarily patient with them, they formed a circle around it. And then one by one, the men took turns going up to touch the elephant. Using their hands, they tried to understand its shape, its form, and because they were in a circle, they each found themselves touching a different part of the animal. The first one, as he was feeling his part, he cried out, "Oh, my brothers, as sure as I am smart, this elephant is like a great mud wall, baked hard in the sun." "Oh no," the second said. "Now, my brothers, I can tell you what shape this elephant is. He's exactly like a spear." The other men smiled in disbelief. "Why, dear brothers, do you not see?" said the third man. "This elephant is very much like a rope." And the others snorted. "Goodness, brothers," the fifth man called out. "Even a blind man can see what shape the elephant resembles most. Why, he's just like a fan palm." "Ah, I thought as much," the fourth man declared excitedly. "This elephant much resembles a large serpent." But of course, no one believed him. And finally, it was the sixth man's turn, and he felt his way along the elephant. He proclaimed, "This sturdy pillar, known as the great elephant, feels exactly like the trunk of a giant palm tree." So their curiosity satisfied, the men all linked hands and followed the guide back to the village. And once there, they were seated in the breeze beneath the palm tree. The six blind men began arguing loud and long. But each now had his own opinion, firmly based on his experience of what an elephant really is like. For after all, each had felt the elephant for himself and knew that he was right, and indeed he was. Yet, depending on how the elephant is seen, each was partly right and also partly wrong. The wisdom comes instead from the elephant himself, who shook his very large head and seemed to smile as he walked away, listening to them argue, wondering how long it would be before they would realize that we each have but a partial perspective of the whole. And when we offer our wisdom humbly, while also seeking the insights of others, we all grow a bit. And so ends our story. Part of the reason for that is the compassion for children at the beginning, and of course, the chorus. We are all a part of one world, and we all can share the same dream. Each of us bringing our gifts and beholding the gifts of every being that we share this life with, whether we've even met that person or not. And isn't that the richest source of our wisdom? From deep within us, and from the gifts of our beloved ancestors, our favorite gurus and our chosen teachers, but also from embracing a practice of finding the truth and meaning in the complex and often troubling world. Yes, even from the things that we witness that seem to be so lacking in wisdom. We find ourselves in a unique and unprecedented time in human history right now. And we sense that there's a tremendous amount of anxiety and uncertainty, both personal and collective. But our lives can feel a bit groundless because of that, and we feel disoriented from what we knew. Our days are filled with evidence of that, and we see it displayed everywhere. Our spiritual lives may feel as if the fault line that we know runs under us like a crack in our windshield is surely about to ask more of us than we feel ready for. So how can we navigate these deep waters in a way that honors our depth of soul and infuses both our inner world and this outer world that we serve with new levels of imagination and creativity and compassion, with wholehearted wisdom? Wholehearted wisdom is essential and also pretty indispensable at this threshold time. UU minister and the president of our seminary, Star King School for the Ministry, Reverend Rosemary Bray McNatt, wrote an article in our Touchstones resources this month. You can read it in the journal that we send out in the announcements sent out Thursday. She begins with a reading from the Hebrew scriptures in the book of Proverbs, chapter 9, verse 1 through 6. I'll read the words from the Message Bible. Lady Wisdom has built and furnished her home. It's supported by 7 hewn timbers. The banquet meal is ready to be served. The lamb is roasted, wine poured out, table set with silver and flowers. Having dismissed her serving maids, Lady Wisdom goes to town and stands in a prominent place and invites everyone within the sound of her voice and asks, "Are you confused about life and don't know what's going on? Then come with me. Come have dinner with me because I've prepared a wonderful spread. We have fresh baked bread, roast lamb, carefully selected wines. Leave your impoverished confusion and live. Walk up the street. Come to a life with meaning." Reverend Rosemary notes that there is that deep wisdom and that delicious meal available to be found within Unitarian Universalism, a wisdom that is drawn from our many sources, and it finds expression in many ways. It's worth noting that in every one of the classical theological languages, the word for wisdom is feminine. In Hebrew, it's chokmah, and in Greek, Sophia. But before those of us who identify as females begin to feel a bit smug about that, or a little superior to our masculine friends, let's ground ourselves in a wholehearted wisdom that has the qualities of both the feminine and the masculine, active and passive, positive and negative, the yin and the yang, the light and the dark. Being wholehearted requires us to do both. Number one, to open ourselves up and to welcome the brokenness that we see and let it dilate our hearts to genuinely feel our call to make a difference. And also to send forth the gifts that we have in this community of restorative care that come bursting out from our prayers and our positive engagement with the passions of our justice-seeking hearts. Imagine the heart that was out of balance between the diastolic and the systolic functions. We'd be headed for the coronary care unit, or worse. When your wisdom is wholehearted, you find your grounding at the center. And it's our heart that is ever present as a metaphor for both the yin and the yang that makes up the delicate balance of our wholehearted wisdom. Our heart's function has wisdom tales to tell us. The diastolic function of every heartbeat presents a yin energy that is receptive and passive, cool dark and negative. And then the systolic reading of our heartbeat has the characteristics of yang, active, warm, bright, and positive, as the right ventricle pushes the blood into the lungs, where it is oxygenated and pushed off to nourish our bodies. So how shall we use those? How shall we do both? How shall we stay wholehearted in the wisdom that we seek? If there is a situation that is pushing into your life with force, and you're feeling a need to resolve it in a way that you're not comfortable with, just let it rest. It's not time to act. Rest and let it try to expand your vision and create new options that feel more balanced and more centered. If your needs or the needs of someone in your care are not being met by the responsible parties who are too lax, you might need to get pushy to bring some balance and find the help you need among your companions here in the congregation. If you're sensing a bit of procrastination for something with a due date that's approaching, muster up some courage and maybe seek out a friend or a partner or a minister that will help to stir some motivation and bring balance to the wisdom you need. When we are seeking a wisdom that is wholehearted, it gives us the challenge to give up a bit of our stubbornness, and it gives us a thirst to seek the balance of wisdom, the wholeness that fills in the gaps that we haven't seen ourselves. It also gives us the growth spurts to come to bless us when we're willing to learn rather than to stay insistent and grumpy and stunted. There are probably more examples than I could count where my wisdom was anything but wholehearted. But until I let go of the grip that I had on the outcome, opened it up to what was true and what was meaningful, and then I found the nuggets within that others had offered, bringing a new vision that was far beyond anything that I could have imagined on my own. We need each other to have wholehearted wisdom. So may we, as we go forward, crossing an important threshold today, be a wholehearted, wise community in our hopes, in our continued healings, and in the wisdom that we bring onto every new path that will open before us as we go. Blessed be. I invite you to stand and we'll sing together. Open your hymnals to number 354. We laugh, we cry. Oh, we have the words up for that. Great. Thank you, Lily. Yeah, let us not have a service where we don't thank our tech team as well. They're invisible, but we couldn't do it without you. Yeah. handy, let's open that up to the inside and we'll read the extinguishing of the chalice words. Lily, I'll ask you to come over and blow the chalices out, please. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. May the love which overcomes all separation, that love which heals all wounds and dissolves all fear, reconciles all things, be in us and among us, now and always. Amen. Namaste, and blessed be.